Hi, I'm Dr. Celine Gelgich.
And I'm Dr. Tori Miller.
Welcome to Breaking the Rules.
On Breaking the Rules, we talk about all things OCD.
Obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, impacts up to 1 to 2% of the population. We are here to provide not just education, but to inspire clinicians, families, and people who are impacted by OCD to be able to access the treatment they need in order to get better.
Catch us every fortnight, wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about a topic that we haven't talked about because we've always been like, it's too basic, it's so cliche, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's contamination. We're finally doing it.
I know. Actually, we had to double check, didn't we, that we hadn't actually done it before. But, I mean, I think we've, made reference to it quite a few times. But we've never really done a deep dive.
No.
On contamination, which is funny given it's one of the most common ones.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
what do we mean by contamination-themed OCD, Celine?
We mean a deep fear of environmental contaminants. I think in a nutshell, dirt, germs, environmental stuff like asbestos, chemicals, that kind of stuff, illness. Did I miss anything?
I mean, look, the
could be.
It's pretty broad.
Yeah,
it's pretty endless. But the one thing also can be is moral contamination.
Yes,
too.
I was gonna. Yes, and what you mean by that is
believing that by proxy of being near someone or watching some content online.
Yes,
someone who perhaps is behaving in a way that is opposite to your values, and then kind of like moral scrupulosity, kind of like being afraid that of being a bad person is fearing that the bad essence of that person or that thing will rub off on you and therefore leave will tarnish you or leave a stain on you that will then turn you into a bad person. So kind of hurt you in some way.
Caught their immoral behavior.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think, this is the one that people think of when they think about OCD.
Yes.
People are often thinking about obsessive cleaning, hand washing. And I think people are kind of right to sort of, that this one comes to mind. I think they're compulsions that are easier to spot in other people because they're happening outwardly as opposed to, mental compulsions.
Yes.
But also it's like what movies have always represented
that's right.
OCD as being and I think but this is also I think one of the best demonstrations of the difference between I think what colloquially OCD is understood as and what contamination-themed OCD is, which is the intense distress that is associated that people with OCD experience while doing the hand washing or the cleaning.
Yep.
They might have beautiful looking homes potentially. I mean, that is actually a cliche. A lot of people with OCD who do sort of obsessive cleaning, their place actually might not be tidy and organized. They might be compulsively just cleaning down like the kitchen, the
oven or the stove or the whatever it might be.
Yeah. So it's not, there isn't necessarily, an aesthetic element to it.
Might not look like a display home.
Exactly. But sometimes it does. But I think that's, people when they do see that or have, they assume, this person's really house proud. But in fact, a lot of people with OCD saying, I just wish I could stop. I want to rest. I want to sit down.
Yes.
They talk about, how sore their hands and their bodies are, about the eczema and dermatitis they get. That's right. Like the sore knuckles, the redness from the hot water and the intense detergents. And also not being able to leave the toilet because of excessive wiping or the expensive grocery bills from having to buy copious amounts of cleaning product or soap, detergent.
Yes.
Body
I've
wash.
Had clients literally shower with bleach.
Yes.
Which is horrendous.
Yeah.
So
people using 4 or 5 rolls of toilet paper per toilet visit. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bleeding bums, cracked bums, all of it. Extremely painful. Yeah.
Terrible.
So we're talking about extreme.
Yeah.
But it happens. Or having showers for 3 or 4 hours at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Preparing a beautiful meal but then not being able to eat it.
Yeah.
Because the fear associated with did I cook this properly? Did I contaminate my meal somewhere along the way?
Yes.
And so or making, I've got a client who does a lot of meal prep. She often gets really exhausted, and so having food in the freezer is really important. But if she, for example, does some meal prep and then say is leaving the rice to cool, and she's got really rules that she's having trouble challenging around food safety, if the rice is left cooling and not put in the fridge within like just a few seconds or 30 seconds, a minute over, the food's gone to her.
Food's gone.
She can't tolerate the idea of eating it.
Yeah.
So
which then creates problems in other ways too.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, she struggles to grapple with the food waste that she creates because she's very environmentally conscious, but also she's hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really sad.
She's hungry a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because she just can't eat.
Won't do it.
She won't eat.
Yeah. And I think the consequence of that is having clients who might present to therapy looking like they've got an eating disorder.
Yeah.
When really we're dealing with contamination OCD.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's an important differential.
Yeah.
So you've painted a really, I'm not going to say beautiful picture, dire picture.
I know, it's pretty. It is dire. Dire's the right word.
Yeah, of what contamination OCD actually looks like. Like I remember having a meeting with my thesis supervisor back in the day, and when he found out I was working with people with OCD, he was like, oh, that sounds really easy. It's just like a bit of washing and checking and then you're done. And I'm like, mate, if you only knew what it was actually like, which is what you've described it as, it's horrendous.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just a bit of washing and checking. It's so much more than that, as you've described.
It really holds people hostage just from getting through what a lot of us take for granted. It's just like the basic sort of routines of life, being able to go to the toilet. I mean, if we think about, for a lot of us, sometimes we've got the luxury of time in the shower or in the toilet, but for a lot of people, we have to dash in and out because we've got kids or we've got, we're at work or at school. So for people,
even if we've got the luxury of time, right, it's a very different feeling.
It's still a choice, isn't it?
It is because, when you've got the luxury of time, you're standing under the shower, you're like, oh, this water feels so nice.
I know.
I'll just like loiter here for a little bit longer.
I know. It's like, oh, maybe I'll exfoliate today.
Yeah, or I'll wash my hair thoroughly or whatever.
Yeah.
As opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I've got to start again. And no, I've got to do 5 pumps of soap. No, that didn't feel right. I've got to do it again. No, I've got to do it this way. No, I need to.
Oh, no, I forgot a step. I have to start all over again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I don't feel clean enough. I don't feel clean enough.
Yes.
Oh, I'm stepping out of the shower. Oh, it doesn't feel right. I have to start all over. I'm going to get back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it really holds up people's lives. It prevents people from getting out of the door in the morning. It also impacts families. It impacts water bills.
Partners. Work as well. Function, any type of functioning really. It's devastating.
Yeah. And then of course we're just talking about sort of contaminants, but we haven't talked about illness yet either, about, how afraid people with contamination-themed OCD can be moving through the community.
Yeah. And COVID was like a prime example.
Yeah.
Although a lot of my clients with contamination felt so validated.
Yeah.
During COVID.
And safer in some ways because everyone was masking.
Yeah. And using
hand sanitizer.
Or washing their hands or whatever, or, whatever else it might be.
Yeah, that's right. And staying home.
Yes.
Isolating and quarantining if they were sick.
I think it was as we started, we're in Melbourne, so we had horrendous lockdowns for nearly 2 years. But as we started coming out of all of that, I think that's when a lot of it spiked even more so, because people started feeling unsafe, but then also feeling really angry going, why aren't people still sanitizing? Why aren't people still washing their hands? Why aren't people still doing whatever else it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So contamination isn't cutesy or quirky. It's pretty full on.
Yeah.
And very debilitating. Impacts families, partners, children. Oh, I remember I worked with a client once who would literally ask her children to strip at the front door when they came home from school and would just hose them down, which is abusive really if you think about it. So it's like a very delicate conversation around, and my client was mortified when we were, opening up this conversation, talking about it, and very then motivated to not, because it was so against her values as a mother, and led to really great treatment outcomes in the end. But at the same time, I guess the reason why I'm bringing it up is because OCD can be so insidious that it can really use that fear where people end up doing stuff that is so not in line with what they would otherwise want to be doing. And they don't really even realize it until someone calls it out.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit, this is not, no, this needs to stop. Like, this is not what I want to be doing. And that can be really full on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we do with it?
Yeah.
I think is a question to ask, but also I think another one to consider would be one thing that often comes to mind, that comes up, especially with supervisees, is how do we operate with it in therapy when some of it is actually ego-syntonic?
Yeah, that's right.
Because that can make it really prickly as well. One at a time.
Well, let's start there. What do you do with it when a component? Because I often find that as well, that where there are components which are ego-dystonic and aspects that are ego-syntonic. The client I was referencing before, who is so lovely, but there are certain things that she doesn't want to compromise on, and certain things that she's willing to be flexible on. And and I think one of the things that's really challenging for her is that she has a lot of people in her world telling her what the rules should be and what choices she should be making and where the change should be happening, that she finds really challenging because she thinks really differently. Yeah.
Yeah. I always aim for being led by the client. As long as there's no severe functional impact on themselves and others. So for me, it becomes this discussion around, well, what are those expectations? What are those rules for yourself? What feels normal, I guess, because what is normal really, versus what is the extra, And so it could even be something as simple as, well, I like to be able to wash my hands after I go to the bathroom. Okay, what does that look like? Because not everyone does that.
No, right? That's true.
And which oftentimes clients will be completely disgusted by and mortified.
See, I'm justified not touching the bathroom door, they say.
Yeah.
See, I'm right to not touch that door with my hands.
Because not everyone washes their hands after the toilet. And my answer often is, well, so what? But it's then the conversation becomes around, okay, if that's a normal thing you want to be able to do, that's fine. But then what does that look like?
Yeah.
Does that then become an OCD hand wash? Are we doing a certain number of pumps of soap versus washing till it feels right versus scalding hot water and all the rest of it? Or are we doing a quick slap a pump of soap on there just quickly, sometimes not even because I don't have time, I've got to run out, I've got a meeting to get to or whatever, quickly wash my hands and then out I go.
That's right.
So are we thinking about it in OCD type? And clients 9 out of 10 times know the difference.
Yes, that's right.
It's like, how can we do a slapdash wash versus an OCD wash?
Because it's about flexibility in life,
exactly.
Right? Do you know what? If my clients say, no, I really value hand hygiene, and so I am going to make sure that I always wash my hands before cooking and eating, and I'm going to wash my hands after cooking, and I'm going to wash them every time I go to the bathroom, like, okay, sure. Like, it's your choice to make.
Yes. But how are you doing it?
Yeah. And but then also, what happens if, let's say, you're on a road trip and you're going to a public bathroom and there's no soap?
Yeah, exactly.
Because there are situations where we know people will choose not to eat or drink so that they avoid having to use public bathrooms, which is really, really unhealthy and not safe.
Yes.
So it's a case of, well, what are there compromises that you're making to your health and your well-being by being too rigid around these rules? So I'm okay if you actually are someone who moves through your life where you have choice, that these are the choices that you're making. But what about when you don't? What about,
can you be flexible?
Can you be flexible? What if you you're late for something and you have to race to the bathroom? Can you do it quickly so that you're on time for your appointment? Are there, if you dropped something important in the toilet.
I was just going to say that, yeah. That's one we use with our teens in the teen group.
Yeah. Can you stick your hand in there to get it out?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then tolerate still having that important thing in your life.
Exactly. Because a question we often get asked is, do I have to stick my hands in the toilet? Because it's a very common exposure therapy task that a lot of ERP therapists love to use.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our answer like all the time is, if you drop something in there, you need to be able to fish it out.
That's right.
Because a lot of the time when it comes to things like sticking your hands in the toilet and whatnot as an exposure task, clients will dismiss it because they're like, oh, it's not realistic. Fine, I'll do it anyway.
But who cares? Because I know in my mind that it's not going to happen. So
and I'll never do it.
Yeah. So whatever.
Yeah. But then we always come back with, but what if you drop something in there? You know, and then you get I'll pull my sleeve over. Well, sure, your sleeve's still going to get toilet water on it. Yeah. And that's probably worse,
I know,
to be honest, than just your hand. In answer to your question, that's where I go with it. In terms of when it's ego-syntonic, where do you go with it? And the short answer is work out what your client wants and doesn't want, and then work out the flexibility aspect of it, as you've described as well. Like, can you do it flexibly, quickly if you need to, and so on and so forth? Because you don't want to be the all-knowing clinician who's like, no, all of this needs to go.
No, that's right.
There might be some clinicians out there, I mean, I might get shot down for saying this, but there might be some clinicians out there who take it to that level and then bring it back.
Yeah.
So you can do it that way as well.
And I do think that sometimes there's merit in that.
There is.
Because I think sometimes it's about a client having the opportunity to experience that they can do those challenging things so that they can have an experience of capability that they can take with them into the future, so that if they're in a pickle, they can say, hey, I've done that before.
Absolutely.
And those emotions faded, and it didn't feel as bad as I thought, or it did feel as bad as but it was awful, but I coped. But I coped.
Yeah.
You know, like I moved through it and those feelings dissipated, and so it's worth it in this moment.
Yeah.
So I do think sometimes, it's worth going and pushing and going over the line so that they can kind of have an experience,
an evidence base,
to refer to, and to also to build up that sense of self-esteem, self-efficacy, capability, belief in themselves, all of those things.
Their confidence around that.
But I know a lot of my supervisees often ask me, like what is right here?
Yes.
Like what is right? Like how much hand washing is the right amount of hand washing? So in terms of thinking about what goal should I be guiding my client towards? And we can't answer that.
No.
There is no right.
There is no right.
I mean, look, the World Health Organization sort of specifies some general guidelines for health and well-being around hand washing and things. But outside of those, but they're not rules, they're guidelines.
They're guidelines.
Guidelines. Yeah. Our clients actually get to decide for themselves.
They do.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important because that in itself can be quite therapeutic and an exposure task in and of itself, because sometimes even having the discussion around pulling back on how long they wash their hands for, or how many pumps of soap, or how long they're in the shower for, or how long they spend disinfecting something or wiping their phone down or whatever else it might be, that in itself can be quite anxiety provoking. But the uncertainty of not knowing what's right or wrong, which kind of is what sits underneath, is a really nice exposure task to work with.
Yeah.
So there doesn't actually have to be, I think as therapists we can get caught up in the black and white aspect of it too, but our role is to help lead towards the grey and just gently shift it back to our clients going, well, this is where you actually get to make a choice.
Yeah. Because it is a lovely feeling as a therapist to be able to say very clearly, to have a really clear shared goal of like, this is the rule, and, let's work towards this. And then, when you've achieved it, it's a nice, smart goal. And,
it all fits in neatly.
But, ultimately that would just be reinforcing OCD, totally. This idea that there's a right and a wrong and that it should be rule bound. And yeah.
So mess it up.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking of messing it up.
Yes. down and
some
dirty.
example exposures.
Oh, well, we've got the toilet, hands in the toilet.
Stick your hands in the toilet.
Sitting on the toilet without hovering over the toilet seat or putting toilet paper down.
Mm-hmm.
Reducing showers.
Yep. Reducing any kind of ritual.
Any kind of ritual.
So that might be using less body wash.
Less wipes.
Skipping steps, messing the steps up, so not doing them in a particular order.
Yeah, because I was going to say if it's ritualized. Someone asked me the other day, what's the difference between rituals and compulsions? Which I think
great question.
A nice question. Compulsions being the behavior we do internally or externally in response to an urge. And it can be quite, I guess, impulsive sometimes. Rituals are compulsions basically, but they're ritualistic, so they have a pattern to them. So, for example, if the compulsion is to hand wash, it might be a ritualistic compulsion. So it might be that you hand wash in a particular pattern to a certain number. You might have a certain number of pumps of soap.
Yep.
You might do your hands this way and then this way and then this way and then this way and then under each fingernail.
Yep.
And if the pattern gets interrupted, you've got to start again, etc., etc. So that's basically the difference between those two things. So one thing, when you're data gathering, it will be a really nice thing to ask your clients to go, okay, so this is a compulsion. Is there a pattern to it?
Yeah.
Is it ritualistic? So you can definitely mess up the ritual. Urge surf to start again if it feels messed up. Could be another nice one. Reducing the number of wipes, reducing the number, so only going in with maybe one toilet roll.
That's right.
Instead of 3 toilet rolls.
Yeah.
Or you might cut that down. Using scripts if clients are freaking out about starting off with things, not asking for reassurance about whether you smell or not if you haven't used more than one toilet roll.
Reducing checking.
Yes.
Around,
food being cooked
use by dates.
Yes.
Things like that. Checking, did you wash your hands or did you wash the carrot before you cooked it?
Yes. Another one people do is have inside clothes and outside clothes.
Yes. Inside clothes go outside and outside clothes come inside.
Yes, but they also go back into the cupboard.
Yes.
They don't stay on the chair drobe.
The chair drobe.
Have you heard of that?
Yes. My husband has a chair drobe.
Yeah, my husband has a chair floor. A floor drobe. Floor drobe.
Yes. Reducing things like Glen 20ing.
Yes.
Spraying and what was I going to say? I don't know. Over to you while I think of what I was going to say.
Not calling the asbestos hotline, whatever their organisation is, to check for that.
I was going to say as people with contamination fears often want to sit in a particular place on a particular chair and prevent people sitting on their bed or sitting in.
Or even coming into their room.
That's exactly right. Yep. So
or hugging their loved ones.
Yes.
That always breaks my heart.
So shifting those compulsions around, so resisting the urge to say to someone, you can't sit there.
Yep.
Or if we're talking about sort of family accommodation, not abiding by those rules. Sit wherever you want. Yep. Mix it up. Yep. Don't
Step
get
into
out
their
of
room.
Yep. Don't get out a clean plate. Sit on the bed. Roll on the bed.
Don't tell them who cooked dinner.
Nope. That's right.
Yep.
Don't tell them if it's the sheets were fresh.
Yep.
Freshly remade that day.
Yeah. Another one that comes up is hand washes in between loads of washing.
Yes.
So, for example, someone might throw their clothes in the wash, then wash their hands and then get the next pile and put that in, then wash their hands and then the next pile. Yeah. Wash their hands and then pop it in the dryer and wash hands in between each kind of moving along and then making sure that those clean clothes are in the clean hamper, which hasn't been near the dirty hamper, which then has to be folded a certain way and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
so
that's
messing that up
Yeah. There are so many ways. And then what you can also do is do exposure to to what's sitting underneath. So if it is about fear of getting sick, it might be writing stories, writing scripts, reading content around people getting sick or you getting sick or spreading sickness. It could be reading information about food poisoning.
Yes.
It could be
like reading about the mushroom lady.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. For anyone overseas, we had a lady who, well, we didn't have, but there was a trial. There was a case of a lady who she's been convicted. Is that the word?
Now.
She's been convicted
and
now
sentenced,
for murdering, was it 3 family members? So she made beef Wellington with poisoned mushrooms and they passed away and she got convicted for their murder. So that's who I mean by mushroom lady.
Yeah.
So reading about her.
Yep. And also then, or it could be, you know, like writing a story about how, you know, you go to the toilet and you wipe, but then there's poo left on your bottom. And so then you stain your underpants and then you go to work or you go to school and you actually smell, and then people around you notice a smell and then they move away from you and then they realize it's you, and then you lose your friends or you lose your job and you're publicly humiliated, and then you let your family down and so on and so forth until it's just a really disastrous ending.
Yes.
And all worst fears have come to fruition. And then reading that and reading it and reading it and reading it and reading it and reading it.
Another one that comes to mind, which is so subtle, is not cuffing your pants. So a lot of clients
letting the pants touch the ground.
Yeah, cuff up the bottom of their pants so they're not letting their pants touch the ground.
Yeah.
Because it collects germs off the ground and so on and so forth. So that's a real subtle one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are so many things.
There are so many things. And like we're talking about the exposure tasks at the moment, but these are all things that you can throw in your assessment.
Yeah.
In terms of do you or have you ever done blah, 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 blah. When someone says they've got, you know, contamination OCD.
Yeah.
Collecting that data is really important.
Yeah.
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 Because then it informs your exposure task.
Yeah.
Planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
I reckon that's comprehensive enough?
I think so.
That's pretty good. All right.
So just summarising, contamination not being cute or quirky, it's being quite dire, impacting lots of different aspects of life. And there are so many other parts of contamination that we probably haven't even touched on.
Yeah.
Because it's not just hand washing and stuff. Like there's so many things from food to relationships to cleanliness, environmental contaminants like asbestos or other chemicals in the air and all that sort of stuff. The most recent one that's coming up is fiberglass in insulation that's being used that people are worried about now, sort of like an asbestos thing and all that sort of stuff. So there's so many ways contamination can impact people with OCD and their loved ones around them. But today we've covered all of that, but also talked a little bit about what to look for in assessment, how to treat, what kind of exposure tasks you can do. So hopefully it's a lot of food for thought, not just for us as clinicians, but for anyone with OCD that's listening and you feel brave enough to give it a go.
Yeah.
Do so with the guidance of your therapists.
Yeah. I reckon it's going to be worth it. Yeah.
Nice one.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you next time.